Hello, welcome back to week 4 of LEC Summer. Excel and G2 are closing out the day, and for this week, the UK lads have hit the panic button. They're bringing in some backup in the form of the Flying Dutchman. It's Markoon and Advienne. So fill me in. Of course, Vedius is joining us. The only chance I've got to steal your time, so this is an honor. And I guess Ender's here as well. Let's start by talking about these new boys. So BT Excel, this is like from the academy team, rising into the LEC ranks. What do we know about these guys?
Well, so the first thing we have to talk about is their EU Masters appearance. And I think that starting there, they were pretty invisible. Like, their impact was not super well felt. And after losing in the finals, it felt like that they kind of needed to change, adapt, and evolve themselves in order to achieve more. Going into the NLC, we've seen so much more proactivity from the jungle support duo, and Markoon in particular has just been so much more active. In their most recent performance earlier in the week, he was dominating on the Diana, and it was a pleasure to watch. So I think that he, alongside the support, are aiming to bring a little bit more fire and pep into the step of what Excel are currently running.
And I like that idea, right? Bringing up both jungle and support. You know, jungle support are like the mitochondria, the powerhouse of Excel, and really any other team. And it really fuels how you play early game, mid game situations. And it's something that I feel like is nice to have that inbuilt synergy when working together. So even though I don't feel like Denik had any poor performances in the bot lane, really, I thought he was pretty solid. I do think that it's a smart decision for Excel to just completely rewrite how they're playing these early games.
Okay, so the general sentiment is that something was going to change. Excel couldn't have continued on this same trend and been happy with the final season stats. So this is just a compulsory, but it's not a criticism of the previous shoes that were being filled. Okay, makes sense. Either way, we do have, last time I was here, G2 was the clear top team, but last week they went 0-2. It's getting a bit weird now. They're going up against a fresh, unpredictable Excel. Is it going to keep going? Does it keep rolling down the mountain?
Well, I think that right now, G2 is going through a bit of a reform. We've heard a lot about Nelson, who's joined the roster, and how he kind of wants to change their approach to the game, and they're learning the approach to the game. But I think that there are some players that we've got to call out, and whether or not that is their approach or whether that is their individual performance, I feel like Wunder and Kai'Sa not right now having the same performance that we normally expect from them. I have never seen this many 10th place statistics for Caps. He has by far and away always been the best performing mid laner in Europe, and his current performance alongside Wunder is not the level that we typically expect. So while there are a lot of changes going on in G2 and while they're trying to adapt how they approach the game, I still want to see these two individuals return to the form that we normally expect from them.
Yeah, and I imagine, Ender, you've got a very similar list of expectations with names as prominent as Wunder and Caps.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people, you know, you look at it, it's like maybe the champion pools have a bit of an effect on, you know, what we're actually seeing those numbers end up being for someone like Caps. But at the end of the day, G2 at their peak has always sort of been driven by Caps getting an advantage in mid and then roaming around the map and blowing things wide open. And we need to see a return to that and that similar level of dominance for G2 to put themselves back on top.
Rock and roll. Well, there's nothing more we can do other than watch it and see if G2 can get some of their big names once again in the driving seat, or will Excel, with their new names, be up to fight to the fight. Let's jump in, though, and send it to your casters. It's G2 and Excel with your handsome... Who is it? I can't even see. It's Drakos and Caedrel.
I like that you called us handsome before you figured out who we were.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's nice. You had the compliment cocked and loaded for whoever was here. I guess we're all handsome at the end of the day.
He did call Medic and Vedius handsome, but he only said to the handsome caster, I think. So it was,
yeah. Okay. All I want to say is I understand that Medic went to medical school, and that's why you have to call him like Dr. Medic or Dr. Chamberlain or whatever. But you're like top 40, top 50 challenger. So why doesn't he toss to you as Drakos and top 50 challenger Lee Sin one trick Caedrel?
Or Drakos the Bard main. And Rap God.
That's true. I like both those titles, I'm not going to lie. But it's not about us anymore. It's about the two teams who are about to set foot on the Rift. G2 trying to find their form. Excel have found a new roster. And we're going to see how it unfolds. Now, you heard on the desk, solo lanes for G2, something we're going to track. But we're going to wait till we get in game to see how both Wunder and Caps perform. Instead, jungle support on both sides, something I have very, very close eyes on. Obviously, Jankos and Mikyx spending a ton of time together. On the opposite side, you already heard it. Flying Dutchman. Markoon, Advienne, two guys who like to play together, two guys who are expected to bring new life into a struggling Excel lineup.
Yeah, and I think when you change the jungle support, it basically changes everything in the team almost. I think the only other kind of big thing in the team change would be jungle mid. Jungle support is really, really important when it comes to the early to mid game, in bridging your team to make sure they can juggle the strong parts and the weak parts of the map to make sure you can get ahead and not fall too far behind. Markoon, he plays a lot of carry champions, so we'll have to keep our eyes on what he likes to opt into. We saw Dan playing things like the Sejuani and the Xin Zhao being more of a supportive jungler in a sense, apart from that one pop-up game he had on the Xin Zhao, and Markoon's just more of a raw carry. So we'll see what he can bring to the table alongside Advienne. They've been working together all year long, and they made EU Masters Finals, so
they did.
Good achievement so far.
And you've seen their stats. Those are obviously in the NLC, so they are now smaller fish in a slightly bigger pond. We'll see if they can put up these same results here. But the Draven ban, interesting. Okay, Patrik, of course, back in the day as Sheriff was a Draven player back in the H2K days. You know that better than most. But by banning the Draven, they have left open the Thresh, and this is a big deal. Advienne 3-1 on the champion domestically, and giving it over opens up so many additional AD carry options like a Jinx, like an Aphelios, who was just buffed on this patch.
Yeah, we're probably going to see an Aphelios here from XL. That's an insta-lock, Gwen, Lee Sin. So Gwen and Lee Sin both kind of flexes here for G2. They could all go into 3 roles, all of them. And we'll see what XL want to respond with. I think jungle AD would make a lot of sense. Can also go for mid lane. The Thresh does pair well with many AD carries, but with Varus being down and Draven being down, maybe it's better to just secure the Aphelios in the 1-2-3 instead of getting banned out, which G2 will definitely target. Volibear locked in here for Markoon. We talk about him as a carry player, but he instantly locks in a tank. So we'll see if he can be proactive on that champion, because I feel like XL have not been very proactive. Even in their wins, when it comes to their losses, it just feels like they're not finding many plays.
And Caedrel, I'm holding my breath because I might finally get to cast an Aphelios game again.
Oh, I hope they pick Jinx. Oh.
Okay. Why would you do me like that?
I don't know, it's funny.
I guess I've made enough playoff jokes that I probably deserve that. But now, the Aphelios locked in, obviously hyper carry, something that G2 can opt to respond to by picking an AD of their own. If not, they will be very quickly banned away in the second phase.
I wonder if they're going to go for something like the Nautilus or the Kai'Sa, perhaps something strong for the lane phase to be able to shut it down. No, they're going to go for the Kai'Sa, so they're probably looking at engage support. Things like the Nautilus, again, the Leona, the Rel, the Alistars of the world is probably what they're looking at. XL should definitely look to ban those away. And G2, the reason they're probably picking AD here is instead of picking one of, for example, our mid laner, is because the Gwen can go top jungle mid, the Lee Sin can go top jungle mid. So the G2 special is coming out here. The good old remnants of G2 where they just pick loads of flexes and then you don't really know where anything's going to end up, because Caps has played Gwen, but Gwen's a good top laner too as well. So we'll see where they opt into putting those. Lulu taken away there from Kryze in the top lane.
And I like what you highlighted there, Caedrel, because yeah, all is well and good with the flex picks, but if you reveal one, you're going to reveal a lot more information than maybe you intend to, so it is the AD is the option. And as you predicted, Caedrel, some of the engaged supports being taken away. Now, G2 taking the Lulu away, making sure that Kryze can't play that, making sure that Excel cannot play through Patrik. Historically, whenever Excel have been in a difficult position, it's always been Patrik that you could rely on to carry this team. So setting up for success on the Aphelios, setting Advienne up for success on the Thresh is a big positive step you have to feel for Excel in this game. But G2 taking their time on the final ban, it will be the Karma. They are really committed to not letting Mr. 200 Years take over this game, and I respect that.
Yeah, and targeting Kryze, who's played both Karma and Lulu top, playing more of a supportive style as well for the team sometimes when necessary. Blitzcrank ban. Very good ban up against the Thresh, something that slipped my mind. Definitely makes bot lane Armageddon and can make it so the Thresh pick loses its value because of the hook battle in bot side, depending on where the junglers are on the map. So G2 probably going to opt into support here. I think Leona Rel, probably a really good pickup for them here. Pantheon, not a fan. Don't pick that again, Mickey. Yeah. Definitely struggles, especially against the Thresh. So there's the Leona. Very classic bot lane comp coming out here. Lots of dive, lots of skirmish here from G2. How does XL want to respond is my big question, because Nukeduck has been playing things like the Azir. I would love to see more of a skirmish-heavy champion like a LeBlanc just to match fire with fire.
And I like LeBlanc because it's generally comfortable. At worst, you can sit back, you can just W forward for farm, and at best, you can find these really favorable exchanges, but have to find a comfortable blind pick here. That's the reality of the draft. That's the reality of G2 being on the red side. So final pick to come through. Expecting a top laner. Renekton is up and available. One that definitely slipped my mind, but will go into the hands of Kryze. And Markoon now committed to the Volibear. Again, another champion. Advienne 3-1 on the Thresh. Markoon undefeated on the Volibear. So positive starts for the new rookies.
And there's still sort of like a last pick rumble here if G2 wanted, where you could go Gwen mid, Lee Sin top, pick the rumble. But you can alternatively pick a mid laner and then put Lee Sin in the jungle and Gwen towards the top lane. So it looks like it might be Sylas here for G2. I think we had a game earlier today. I think it was Misfits. LeBlanc picked the LeBlanc and Humanoid answered with the Sylas. So.
And we saw how absolutely nasty Sylas is when he gets to steal away a LeBlanc distortion. Leap in, blow your entire combo, leap right back out as Sylas. That's reason that ability's not normally in his kit.
Yeah, he has the Volibear ult takeaway as well. Really good gold value here for Sylas, going Merc Treads up against that mid jungle of Excel. But Excel definitely a lot of proactivity from their champions. Aphelios Thresh should have the push in bot, and they can contest it 3v3 alongside Volibear, LeBlanc, Renekton, these volatile matchups that you can play towards as carry champions. And Excel have a lot of options in this in the early stages of the game. G2, on the other hand, they have a lot of skirmish to fight back. 4 melee champions on their side, up against the side of Excel. And they're going to be playing more towards the top side, I presume. I think the Leona, you can definitely look to play around it, but with Lantern, with the Aphelios having the cleanse as well, most likely. Getting the Gwen ahead against the Renekton, getting the side lanes ahead is what G2 want to do, whereas Excel want to play more towards their bot lane, I'd expect.
A lot of options for both sides. A lot of skirmishing power on both sides. Late game insurance card of the Aphelios. Can G2 out-execute? Can G2 make sure that the game does not get to that state? We are moments away. It is the final game of day 1 of week 4 here in the LEC. Excel versus G2. Onto the Rift.
Ooh.
Level 1.
Wunder has no flash.
The Young Buck special.
Young Buck special. Advienne could flash forwards and look for a hook. Wunder's going to spot it out now. Gets the dash, uses the E and gets out.
And of course, Gwen normally starts with the E, so that's really not going to cost too much for Wunder there. Skip and Slash is generally an incredibly oppressive ability. Unlike the Gwen game we saw earlier today, Wunder also taking the Ignite can mitigate a lot of that healing from Kryze without being forced to itemized into the Oblivion Orb. Very kind of crap item for Gwen, if I'm honest.
So look what Advienne did there. He didn't actually place his ward intentionally and then based and swapped the sweeper. And I think the sweeper isn't on cooldown, so he can walk into his bot side jungle and sweep away that ward that G2 plays, because you expect them to move into your bot side jungle once you've moved in towards the top side. There's a sweeper, so he's going to clear out the vision. Smart play there from Advienne, saving his ward so the sweeper wouldn't go on cooldown, so they can take a ward at the very least. So level 1, yeah, winning.
Solid start. I mean, that's something, right? And I think naturally, whenever we talk about G2, we're talking about jungle support a lot of the time because Mikyx and Jankos are spending so much time together. But on the side of Excel, they've got a shiny new jungle support of their own. That's Markoon and Advienne. These guys, again, these stats are coming in from the NLC, and they are kind of top dogs there. So no surprise to see them be so high up. But part of the reason that they have been now promoted to the main roster is because of their incredible success in the ERLs and in the NLC specifically.
Yeah, we'll see how they do on the big stage. Definitely a lot to step up at least, but they're moving up together though. The jungle support have been playing together for around 4 to 5 months now already, so they have got that inbuilt communication, synergy, whatever you want to call it, together. So they will know what each other wants to do on the map. We'll see if they can execute it properly, as Mikyx might find at the end here.
Going forward, shielded Daybreak, just getting a bit of poke down. Confident to trade as long as he has the Aftershock up and available. Keep in mind it's the Guardian for Advienne, so short trade's definitely not too bad for Excel.
Excel playing very defensive here. I thought they would try to contest the push and just try to trade onto Rekkles with the double range champions. In the end, Mikyx using the bush is going to deter them away, and Wunder obviously going to be very, very aggressive on the top side of the map when he has Ignite and TP. Caps playing the Sylas. You can see Jankos pathing top side, Markoon also pathing up there. So all about top lane in this early game. We'll see which team can get the top side grab.
We're keeping the pressure. As mentioned, now Nukeduck versus Caps. Matchup that I naturally have my eyes on. Now, obviously LeBlanc versus Sylas is flashy in general, but if people really cast your mind back to one of the last times that Nukeduck played versus G2, he was playing LeBlanc, it was Perks' Zoe, and it was a match full of highlight reels where Nukeduck like single-handedly carried the game, as Kryze might go down here. So what I'm trying to say here is keep an eye on Nukeduck's LeBlanc, and certainly keep an eye on Kryze, who is getting absolutely bodied topside. The good news, his jungler's on the way. The bad news, so is Jankos.
Yeah, Markoon needs to be careful here. I think the level 3 Volibear should win out against the Lee Sin. We'll see if they find each other and look for the fights.
Right on the Kryze.
Yeah, Nukeduck has the mid push as well. Markoon has smites. They should be able to secure that. Kryze is going to have to be forced to base and TP back, so Wunder could look to save his TP himself. So Excel win out on the top side early from that mid priority that Nukeduck has.
At the end of the day, it's the exchange. G2 get the TP. Kryze forced to use that one to come back to lane, but Jankos has to give up the grab, which is definitely difficult for the Lee Sin early on. You know that better than anyone.
Oh yeah, giving up grab hurts. Just watching him take it right before your eyes like it's just a movie. Oh, hates. But Markoon also took away the Raptors, I think. So he's taken topside Crab, he's taken away the Raptors. Now he's going to take away bot Crab. So Markoon is going off to a great lead in this early game. He should have himself round about the level advantage from this from these camps. You can see Jankos is going to clear his small Raptor and he's going to be level 3, whereas Markoon is working his way towards level 5.
And we talked about the priority lanes for Excel, how they could pay off. Markoon taking full advantage of them, using bot prio, pulling Advienne up. Now Patrik, a little bit in trouble here. Advienne debating if he needs to step down. Nukeduck has to be careful about overstepping. Does go back. Jankos doesn't want to commit to this one, however.
Maybe they want to look for a dive. Jungle support of Excel. First game on the big stage, and they're already kind of poising here for a dive on mid. Jankos looks like he's kind of reading the play, and Mikyx as well. He's trying to get some information. Caps wards over the wall, and they spot him out. Markoon.
Healing can come in. It's going to be big. Nukeduck can go over the wall, but he's stunned up. He's locked up. He's taken out. Jankos now trying to fire back. Doesn't want to recommit with the kick, and Nukeduck's going to walk away. That's a solid start for Excel. 1K gold advantage to their name.
Jankos should be able to pick up this mid wave, and Caps should be able to TP back as well. But first blood from Markoon. Great showing already. First game in the LEC. Gets himself a camp lead, gets a kill. Now he's moving towards the top side, though. I wonder if Nukeduck could TP up here. Caps just TP'd mid. This is a really intelligent play. If they TP on this wave, they should be able to dive Wunder. Here it comes.
Markoon now stepping forward. Who's going to go for the first? Kryze should open with the stun. Markoon can fall with the instant CC. He's locked in the circle, but they just go in with him. Nukeduck gets a kill back.
Great communication. They're going to lose a mid wave for it, and Patrik might have to be careful for the cross map because Caps can push in, move towards the bot side and look for a dive, but great communication. Let's go for the mid dive. Let's kill Caps. Oh, Caps has to TP back to the mid wave. Okay, I'll base quickly, Nukeduck says. Markoon doesn't even base himself, runs top, 3-man play top, 2 kills for Excel in this early game, but now they need to be careful on this bot side.
1K lead for now for Excel. G2 now trying to fire back on the bottom side, as you highlighted. It's going to be at least one tower play for Rekkles. He starts to get a few autos down, but Patrik and Advienne giving the respect. They know all their resources were burned top. They have to play a bit more passive here. Jankos is going to leave. It does mean that Advienne and Patrik can finally approach the wave with Markoon waiting in the darkness to back them up.
So a lot of trades come in here, right? You get G2 solo lane TPs and you get 2 kills on the side of Excel. Great. You lose a mid wave, you lose a lot of waves bot, and you lose a plate. So it's kind of net positive for Excel just because they forced out the 2 TPs, which they were lacking in the early stages. You know, Kryze was forced to TP back early, and they got themselves 2 kills. So slightly even overall, but Excel, more resource lead, more gold lead in the end, but G2 finds something at the very least.
And Caedrel, I think we have to talk about how already this looks like a positive start. Now, it's a single game, it is a single early game, it is 6 minutes. But when you compare it to, of course, how Excel have been doing around the 15-minute mark in most of their games, it's been a little bit difficult. 0.56 KD at 15, definitely not where you want to be. Down 2K gold, not where you want to be. Already 1K gold up against G2, even if it is a struggling G2, is a positive start.
And more importantly, 2 kills at 15. That's very, very low for a team that you need to be proactive in this meta. In this meta, there's a lot of fighting in the early stages. You can see dives all over the board in all of the games. It's 6 minutes and they
already have 2
now
kills.
It's 5-6 minutes and they have themselves 2 kills. So after a great start, Markoon timing the enemy Raptors after he took them away level 3 is going to take them away again. So pushing Jankos back in this early stages of the game. He has got a winning jungle matchup, I must say, in the early stages. I mean, Volibear wins out the 1v1. Caps might have found him though.
Stolen Volibear, it's going to be big. You talked about how stats effective it is. He's going to leap down. Markoon taking so much damage. Now they're turning and they're trying to burn. Now it's going to be the 1-for-1 so far. Jankos forced to back away, but overall, Nukeduck just going to grab another kill.
Yeah, Markoon overextending there a bit, but he does get punished. Caps also gets punished for going too deep. Nukeduck has the damage to finish him off. It's going to be 1-for-1. Kryze has flash. He might have to use it here, but no more ultimate stacks for Wunder. 1-for-1. Markoon bringing the fight to G2, and Nukeduck's there to respond.
And earlier we saw how much control Wunder had over this lane, but you can see Kryze 10 CS advantage. Yes, he's pushing a wave here into the tower. Wunder will recoup some of that difference, but Jankos waiting in the darkness, looking to go toe-to-toe with Nukeduck. The dash in, the chains are now connected. The kick back as Jankos backs away, but Markoon, again, on the way here.
Mikyx on the way up as well for this crab. I think Advienne needs to come too. You can see him moving. Jankos already smited it, so there's no way he can contest this, and Markoon levels up. The 3v3, definitely winning for G2, but there's nothing for them to take. Now, hang on a second. Markoon's running top. He might be looking for a top dive. Has the ultimate to disable the tower. I think Wunder's going to have to back off this wave because he showed top.
Oh, low mana, low health. Caps and Mikyx on the way up. Jankos in the area too. All of G2 ready for the roam here, but there's nothing Wunder can do in this situation.
He's a bit too deep. Maybe Caps is on their way to collapse. Markoon might have to ult.
Locked up. Ult for the unstoppable. Happy to be flashed. I like it. I like that he's comfortable. I like that he's confident that he's flashing emotes in his first game. That's a big deal.
You like to see it. Definitely off to a great start here, and Markoon obviously forced the ultimate. I think he stayed way too long on that top side. All of G2 moving through mid. They didn't have too much vision to spot it out. In the end, he's forced to use an ultimate. So no neutral objectives taken just yet. 8 minutes in the game. We expect one team to maybe pull the trigger, push out a bot wave like Rekkles just did, maybe base and move towards his top side. And until then, there won't really be too much action.
No. And you can see Patrik suffering a bit here. Has been left on his lonesome. He's been playing the weak side, bot side. And Leona Kai'Sa always going to be a big threat, even when Thresh is there to mitigate it. But Advienne's been roaming, as has Mikyx, and that's what we know from both of these duos. is the immense amount of time that they spend together, Markoon and Advienne, as well as Mikyx and Jankos.
Yeah, and if you're Markoon and Advienne, your first debut in the LEC, you're up against Jankos and Mikyx. I think that's probably one of the toughest mid jungles you're ever going to have to face as almost like rookies coming onto the stage. Probably one of the best support jungles, in the league.
Yeah,
It's a tough task.
and again, they have a very similar style. Advienne and Markoon like to spend a lot of time. Jankos and Mikyx like to spend a lot of time together. That's that 30% jungle proximity. That's just how much time Mikyx spends around Jankos. The 47% on the opposite side is how much Jankos spends around the entire team. Now, it's tough. It's your first game. You have to play G2. That is not the debut you want. You want to start on like an SK or an Astralis maybe, although I might need to take that back after Astralis' game earlier today.
Yeah, they did smack around Vitality. 24-minute game.
Yeah.
Great performance from them, but here it is. Herald start for G2. Jankos thinks twice about that because the bot lane of Excel has pushed. You can see that pink ward in the bot side river, spotted out the Aphelios Thresh moving through river, and they just have to call that one off. Now Patrik's going to have to go back to the lane. Excel probably want to start this up, but then you might see the opposite thing happen if Markoon starts his Herald. Rekkles and Mikyx can move up the river, so you're always going to have numbers advantages depending on the bot push because Herald will take too long to finish by the time they can collapse. But it's all about this top side for now. Markoon's going to find Jankos.
Good stun. The kick can take him out to safety. He can ward hop over the wall as well if he had a ward, but he doesn't.
He does have 2 pings. Could.
Oh, does. Yeah,
There it
he
is.
does. Control wards. Good call.
Now it's all about top push. Kryze is fighting aggressively on Wunder. The support is here. So Mikyx actually based. Advienne's moved towards his top side. Maybe Excel want to use this numbers advantage that they have for now to start this up. But Kryze needs to be careful.
Getting very low. Has the ultimate, but Wunder has the ignite. So can mitigate a lot of the healing after the initial Dominus health boost.
Ooh, Nukeduck.
The chain's going to land, has the stolen ulti coming out. He's going to get hooked from Advienne. He didn't even see him coming. Cap's now going to be in trouble. That's the tower shot ticking. Burning, corrupting potion. Is it going to be enough? Nukeduck falling forward. Advienne going in. Nukeduck on a killing spree, but it's now Kryze who's going to be in trouble. That's a kill traded back on the top side for G2 Esports.
1 for 1, then G2 is really low. They use both ultimates and the ignite to secure that kill onto Kryze. So that means XL can start up this Herald. You can see Nukeduck's pushing in mid, 3 members strong, and G2 shouldn't really contest this without their ultimates. Mikyx, if he was level 6, maybe there's a world where they can find it. And the both AD carries just kind of farming on the bot side. It's all about the top side in the early stages of the map. 1 for 1 trade, but XL get the Herald.
XL holding on to their gold lead. Only 600 for now, but the Herald is going to start to bring that back. Mikyx not going to connect on the Zenith Blade, so nothing else is going to happen there as Caps returns to mid lane.
Caps does return to mid lane, and Caps really struggling this time around in the split. I think the Analyst test touched on it. The stats of Caps, now stats obviously need context. He's been playing a lot of mini champions, especially, but damage share, damage per minute, KP, he's not really finding. And when I think of Caps, I think of him pushing in mid, moving towards side lanes, just diving people level 3. It's not that much of a meta right now, but even in this game, 1-3, 3 out of 4 of XL's kills so far, kind of getting more so of the mid jungle, kind of struggling right now in terms of Markoon forcing the plays onto Caps. But Caps definitely struggling the split.
And I think probably one of the weakest splits we've seen from Caps since his initial debut on Fnatic, where yes, he got a solo kill, but maybe he was a bit over-aggressive, wasn't quite able to find his form before he became the terror of the league that we know him to be. So for G2, maybe needs to find more of that footing, maybe needs to buff some of those numbers up.
Yeah, and just from the numbers, I still think Caps is definitely, if not still, the best mid laner in Europe. He's just really not found his form the last couple of games. We'll see if he can step it up. I'm sure he will come towards the playoffs era.
Yeah.
The later stages of the week. But for now, looking at this game, XL still holding around the 1k gold lead. They did drop the first dragon, but they haven't used their Herald yet, which is going to net them a lot of gold. You can see Markoon on the bot side of the map moving towards his bot tower. Maybe they want to funnel resources into Patrik now, because Nukeduck's ahead, Kryze has been given a little bit of attention. Markoon's got himself a decent lead in the jungle in terms of kill participation, but Patrik is your main carry. He's the hyper carry in the late stage of the game. He's going to be the one that's going to melt through the 3 or 4 mini champions of G2. So funneling gold into him is probably where they want to focus.
Certainly not a bad idea. Of course, has some options. We expect, I think, Kraken Slayer, Runans in this game could go for the more defensive option in the shield bow, but Kraken Slayer the most common here for Aphelios. And Caedrel, I think when we look at it right now, G2 are going to need some of that skirmishing prowess. They've all played together for a long time. That's the advantage that they have. But now Cap's going to be in trouble. He's going to steal the ultimate. He can't leap out Odin to safety, but he goes over the wall and he just gets followed. Another happy bee from Markoon. He's feeling good. Who just walks into the league and just starts killing Caps in their first game?
He's dove him twice now. Him and Nukeduck are working very, very well together in sync. Maybe they want to herald this mid tower as well. There it is. So Markoon playing around his mid laner all game long. 100% kill participation for Nukeduck. Markoon part of 4 of them. This mid tower is going to take a few hits on plates. Nukeduck's going to get all the gold. Maybe he even has his mythic item in base at this point. And he's really, really far ahead. A fed LeBlanc is very dangerous against the comp of G2. Top lane.
Wunder trading back. He's low on mana.
He has Ignite up in a couple of seconds. He might want to turn it when he does. It's up right now, so he might start to walk forwards.
Jankos is on the way to the dash forward. Skip and slash. Good bit of healing coming in. Ignite does go down, but Kryze will be able to walk that
Jankos,
one
though.
off. Jankos coming up with the darkness is highlighted. There's the control
Flash
ward.
kick.
Sonic Wave. Just the kick. Ooh, doesn't even need to flash for it.
Yeah, maybe mindly sim with a flash kick there. I don't know, maybe I'm not as confident in my cues, but Jankos definitely hitting his. As we look at the replay, I think this is the mid dive, so you can see Nukeduck just hits the chains, and Markoon, although he was slightly hesitant initially, as soon as the chains land, he just goes for it. Ult's taken away, but he just matches ult with ult. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, man.
Oh, there he comes again!
Oh,
replay!
Oh, no! There are way too many bear sky punches in this game.
That looks so funny.
Save that one, Obs. We want that one for later. I haven't found out the application yet, but we'll think of something.
Now Excel focusing towards his bot side. Nukeduck should be able to get the mid push, and mid tower is very low on the side of G2. So having bot push, having top push, and moving them towards mid is what Excel want to do. They're in the driver's seat in this early game, Rekkles.
Certainly are, and it's a position that they haven't been a lot this split. You can see only 2 wins. Winning here a big deal, helps keep them neck and neck with Astralis, helps keep them fighting in that race for playoffs, as we've talked about so many times. And it's going to be important, especially Schalke won as well earlier today. So we've got a lot of teams here in the last week of the first round robin, week 4, that are starting to find their footing, that are starting to build up these wins, and that's a super big deal as we head into the second round robin.
And they're upsets. Schalke beating Fnatic, in a sense, is an upset. You know, Astralis taking down Vitality, also in a sense an upset. And this would be a massive upset as well. So Excel winning this game would keep them in the playoffs race. I think Schalke is at 3-5 now, and so is Astralis. So if they were to lose and be at 2-6, it's going to be even harder when it comes to week 6 and week 7.
It's massive for the side of Excel. And Caedrel, I think the big deal here for me is continuing to snowball this advantage. And maybe I'd be a little bit nervous if Markoon was the only one who was pretty far ahead, or if Advienne was the only one who had any kind of advantage. But Nukeduck is a tried and true carry. This man on LeBlanc when he has 3 kills, I don't care how sketchy some of his splits or some of his finishes have been. When Nukeduck's clean. Nukeduck's clean when he's got the LeBlanc, and he's certainly clean when he's got the lead. He's just picked up the Ludens, 200 gold cheaper on this patch. And Caps is probably sweating here. Level 11 LeBlanc to a level 10 Sylas, and just trying to hold on for now.
Yeah, Nukeduck should have a lot of impact when it comes to this next Drake and these neutral objectives up until around 25 minutes. But I think that Patrik really needs to come online soon. He's got his first mythic item now, building towards his second item soon. But the Aphelios is the late game carry here, and Nukeduck's going to be the side lane pressure. He's going to be the assassin in fights, obviously, and him being ahead, it's really important, especially when, you know, Rekkles is on the enemy team. I think that when he's playing the Kai'Sa, he is slightly mobile if his team can find and engage, but the LeBlanc is so hard to lock down. If Mikyx can get onto Nukeduck and Rekkles can ult onto him, then obviously they can look for the one-shot, but Nukeduck also is going to one-shot your AD carry. So they're going to be very careful around the vision here, make sure that they have the setup and they can spot out the LeBlanc before the fight starts.
And this is what we talked about in Champions Select. It's execution. You have to be able to execute in these skirmishes. You have to be able to find a way to get Rekkles to hit priority targets to keep Nukeduck off of your backline. G2 certainly should be favored there. Their team has played a lot longer together. They do not have 2 rookies on the Rift. And Wunder now potentially caught out here. Big damage going in, though. It's Markoon who's been caught out. He's unstoppable. Hook lands onto Jankos as Advienne walks away. But that's going to be the jungler taken out of the area. Good sidestep from Markoon. Patrik flashing out to safety. Volibear should fall down here as Jankos finds the kill. Nukeduck plays down a bit of poke damage. A lot of shurikens on the side of Patrik. Chakram now coming in. Mikyx going to be in trouble. The dash forward from Kryze. The immediate flash out to safety. Kryze going to finish the job there. Chakram fall away.
G2 need to run. Excel might want to look for a chase, but no, Patrik's going towards mid-wave. G2 splitting up here a bit. The Dragon's up. Patrik's just going to focus on the mid-tier 1, so G2 have to make a decision here. Do we push out bot and look for a bot tier 1 and trade, or do we just base and call it that? Because you see Patrik just pushing in, getting this mid-tower. He's going to push in the next wave as well. G2's mid-jungle still hovering around the Dragon. Maybe they want to fight it. Mikyx's coming out of base now. Wunder has the TP up, but Markoon's also respawned. Look at the TP. It's coming in behind Nukeduck. He should be mobile enough to get himself out of this.
Now being responded to. Wunder's still in the area. Wunder needs to be careful. Skip and slash over the Krug's wall. Trying to make it out for now, but G2 are going to need to commit more resources if they want to bail Wunder out of this sticky situation. The chains are there, but they're just in the mist with them. They're not afraid. They're not going to let that cooldown work.
G2 might get the Dragon. No, they do indeed. So they bursted it down, and Wunder just kind of like a bait there. Forces Nukeduck, forces Kryze to collapse on him, and they trade 1 kill for the Dragon. 2 Dragons now, and the Ocean Soul. And this fight, Markoon gets caught out at the start. Jankos hits the Q over the wall, but decides not to go in. Smart decision, I think, when all of the members of Excel are around. But because Markoon is so low and he has no flash, Mikyx's just stopping him from being able to escape. The E was mainly targeted at him. Patrik had to flash away regardless, and then Jankos finds the kill. Nukeduck does a lot of chunk damage. This ultimate from Patrik, it was Shuriken Central. Look how many Shurikens he picks up from this. If anyone was in range of him, he would have just bursted them down, and it ends up in a 1-for-1.
G2 giving that respect and backing away. The big thing is, yes, they get the Drake, but they are now in a hefty deficit. It was only 1k gold mere minutes ago. Now it's about 3,000 gold in the favor of Excel. They're going to grab this Herald as well, which will make the last, rather not the last, but one of these tier 1 towers fall pretty quickly. Patrik also broke tier 1 mid, which for a LeBlanc, it's like a feast. You can go anywhere you want. You can do anything you want now with mid down. You can play anywhere.
I think it's more so for the bot lane, because I think Nukeduck will be on side lane. When you have a strong member like LeBlanc, who's 4-0-3 with a 10-stack Magi's and a Mythic, you want to play towards her. If there's no objective in mid lane, there's no tower, then what's she really playing towards? She can push in and move to sides, but what you want to do is unlock her in a sense where you put her on a side lane, top tower's up, you push in mid with your bot lane, which should be easy, like you said, mid tower's down, and then LeBlanc can just start hitting this top tower. It's all going to be about side lanes here for the XL. See Kryze is bot, Nukeduck's top. It's almost like a 1-3-1 on the map state, and XL should win out on both sides. You can see Kryze is level up, and Nukeduck is ahead of Caps, so G2 trying to weather the storm by trying to mismatch both these lanes.
And importantly, both Nukeduck and Kryze already have healing reduction, which makes Caps' life and laning matchups so much harder. True for Wunder now as well.
Yeah. And Wunder, so we'll keep our eyes on the map state. G2 playing more towards top side. They're going to drop this mid wave, but they want to make sure they can contest top side vision.
Both lands, it's clean play, the stun, the follow-up. Caps now needs to leap out to safety. He's unstoppable for now. Flashed over the wall.
Oh, Markoon!
Safety, but Markoon's not done yet, baby! Can he feast him? Can he lock him down? Caps barely making it out.
Unlucky there, I think. Caps barely lives the exactly like you said, was 1 HP almost. Markoon flashing in, trying to get the kill. The Sunderer does a lot of damage, so even though he's a tank Volibear of sorts, he still has a lot of burst. The jungle support of XL coming in. First game, almost taking down Caps there, and that would have unlocked a bot tier 2, which would have given a lot of gold. Could have been a snowball effect, but 3,000 gold lead here for XL, moving towards 4,000. Pressuring these side lane towers, and the trade-off there for XL for overcommitting bot is that Wunder can take this top tower, because Nukeduck couldn't stay there. 3 members of G2 were up there, and he decides to back off. They lose that blue buff too, but XL have this top tier 1. Should be free gold for them now that their jungle support's moving towards the top side, and they should be able to sweep out this vision of G2.
Absolutely. We talked about Patrik earlier. Been relatively quiet so far, mostly just farming up, only 1 assist. But now has 2 items. Can work towards whatever he wants for the 3rd, but having just those 2 items makes him a pretty big threat in team fights. Renekton's obviously with a ton of nasty Aphelios synergies. That said though, Nukeduck's still the man of the hour. Yes, the 2 new players are playing great, but the fact that they've enabled Nukeduck is just so clear to see the impact that he can have across the rip when he's doing well. 4-0-3, 100% kill participation, and I feel like we're watching last game. Nuclear was doing the same thing on the Twisted Fate. We're having these mid laners who, even after we criticized them this week on Euphoria, it feels like they've been so quiet. Today is a day of massive mid lane performances as Nukeduck's just going to walk away.
Almost a caster curse there. The last time we said about Nuclear Inti went too deep in a fight, and then they lost the fight and looked like Schalke were going to lose the game from it. So you almost did it again, but you're right. Nukeduck level up, 4-0-3, really strong on this LeBlanc. But G2's composition is pretty well rounded to deal with it. You know, if Mikyx can get a stun onto him to follow up with the solo clips, and G2 can kind of get a Jankos to Q him, kick, anything like this, they have good setup and good lockdown for Nukeduck. So he needs to make sure he's careful when he picks and chooses fights, but it's all about this mid push. If XL can keep this mid push, they should control the map, and they can move to either side they want. They're definitely going to look at this next Drake, 3rd Dragon, giving G2 Ocean Soul point. Something you want to avoid. Kryze is going to get this bot tier 2. Look how much gold he should get for it.
But
Tier 2
G2
towers got
waiting.
buffed. 600 gold for a tier 2 tower. Huge patch change on 11.3.
Pretty massive. Means that snowballing those small advantages in side lanes more often than not is what you see in solo queue when you got a split pushing Fiora taking down 2 towers. But even here in this game, huge to have the Renekton getting that much gold, especially when he hasn't really been the center of attention this time.
Yeah, and XL needs to be careful. Look how many pinks G2 have invested towards the top side. It looks pretty obvious to me, at least, that G2 don't want to contest the Dragon and instead want to rush down the Baron when XL move there. So you can see XL put their initial vision bot side, they move up here, sweep away some of G2's, put a little bit of wards of themselves just to make sure they have enough information to work with when they go back towards this Dragon now after this mid wave, so G2 can't sneak a Baron.
For G2, want to find a way to balance out the gold. Want to find a way maybe to get towards Soul to help them get there, but it's been a difficult game. It's been a bit of a difficult split for G2. Only 4-3 from a team that has historically been always consistently domestically dominant, as Wunder's going to be forced to back away from this tier 2, and looks like it's going to be a trade here now. Rekkles is going to pick up the tier 2 on the top side, or at least get some good damage down on it, but in the meantime, it is traded back in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Nukeduck's around to catch the wave. He has TP in case G2 might want to look for some kind of bot fight, but I think they're giving that one up. XL should be able to shut down this Dragon win condition of G2, and G2 just frost mapping the tier 2 top, like I said, for this tier 2 mid. So XL making sure they win out on this trade. Nukeduck will have to be careful because G2 can afford to waste time and just stay around here and look for a pick. Problem is they can't do Baron. There's 1 blue orb in the Baron pit for XL, which is giving them enough information to let them know what they can do.
We've also got TPs up from Kryze and Nukeduck. No, not enough vision in the area. but potentially things that can help mitigate some of the threat of a Baron if someone else can get in there and lay down the vision. Rekkles trying to bait here as Mikyx finally going to get the recall. Advienne, though, playing so safe, playing so cautious, respecting the potential for Mikyx to be waiting in the darkness. Yeah, when you see the Kai'Sa around, if you face check Elise and Leona, you're pretty much one-shotted. So XL grouping up, making sure they clear out this vision together. You can see they're just completely ignoring mid-wave just to enable Nukeduck so he doesn't get caught out and locked up. And you can push out this top waves. Now XL's next focus is going to be this top tier 1 and Baron vision control. They have 4 minutes to work with until this next Ocean Dragon, so they can invest all their resources towards the top side. Still a top lane tier 1 to take, and there's a Baron on the map, so making sure you have control around that, maybe bait it, play with the enemy vision, and force them to walk into you, and then you should have an advantageous fight on your own vision. And I continue to be impressed with Excel in the driver's seat. They've been in control. 1K gold lead, not quite enough to totally dictate the pace of the game, but they've been holding on to about a 3K gold lead ever since some of those mid lane fights, some of those ganks. Now see what they can get done. With Scuttle Crab up, it's going to be hard for them to threaten the Baron themselves, not investing too much vision into the pit. G2 have a ward on the Gromp area, so if they have double TP as well, so if XL overcommit with numbers, there could be a double TP behind them. Mikyx's trying to get some kind of vision as well, but he might get caught out here. Chain connects. And comes in. Ocean Rift, a very big deal there. Hides that control ward, means Mikyx doesn't know that he was spotted out. Now he has to run for the hills. The immediate flash before a fight even gets kicked off. That's big. Nukeduck now chasing. So might want this fight. G2 can TP on the creeps. Dash through from Kryze. No flash on Mikyx. He could flash for it. Big stun. Mikyx, the kick now coming back. Mikyx, no flash available. Ulti not going to connect, but they're going to lock him up anyway. The flash, the hook. Kryze is going to grab that kill. But what is XL losing for this? 5 members committed for a support. Bot tier 1's dead. Maybe Caps can pick up mid tier 1 as well, so this trade-off won't be worth it unless they force something. Maybe they want to force the Baron. Aphelios should do a lot of damage, so XL are basically forced to do this because you can't TP away to side lanes. Wunder's already coming in. Caps might take the tower before he moves. He is going to do so. 4 versus 5. Can G2 stop this Baron? Patrik burning through the purple gun as fast as he can. His guns kind of suck for taking the objective, but they might just have enough damage to burn it down anyway. Markoon getting it lower and lower. Jankos, can he find the seal? Caps waiting in the backside of Patrik. The flash forward, the auto, the snare. Caps now going to be in trouble. Big auto coming in, another slow follow-up. That's going to be Caps taken out, but they've stopped the Baron for now. Caps trying to turn, but Nukeduck unstoppable. XL get a kill, and they get Caps' flash. They have to use flashes of their own. They're going to force it again. Mikyx's out of base. 40 seconds on Caps. XL invested a lot of ultimates there, but Advienne and Kryze still have them. They have no flashes to work with other than Markoon if they want to turn. Advienne might find Mikyx though. No flash on Mikyx. He could use the lantern to get someone else involved. Locked up. Mikyx goes back over the wall. Wunder now in the midst of the fight. He's trying to block as much damage as he can. Hollowed ground. Mikyx now running. Baron isn't going to finish him off. Patrik is there and he's got the shurikens. He can keep the fight going. Every time he autos a champion, they refresh. Doesn't have the right gun out, but that's going to be fine. They're burning through. The Baron remains leashed. Kryze potentially giving his life in this exchange. The rest of the team now on the retreat, but the Baron still getting completed. Jankos with the flash, with the kick, with the smite available. Q over the wall, goes in, cannot get it. Markoon taking a Baron away from Jankos in his first game. Patrik grabbing the kill, XL on fire. And just the way that they got that Baron, the patience they had. You know, they got 3 or 4 kills throughout that whole Baron exchange. First Mikyx, then Caps, then Jankos, then Mikyx again. So 4 kills with the Baron just from pure patience, starting it up, forcing G2 to move in, making one pick on one side, staying together, going all over the wall, and making G2 kind of a little bit dizzy there around that Baron. Really good execution there from XL. Really good decisiveness on when to turn and how to turn. And every member of XL finding the engage. Yeah, and in this Red Bull Baron power play, it feels like the world is XL's oyster. Impressive early game transition to a really clean Baron take there. And overall, this is exactly the kind of life we wanted to see injected into this XL lineup. Now, we have to admit, G2 are struggling a bit here to match what XL are bringing to the table, and while they may have some problems of their own, XL taking wins over G2 was always good to see for XL fans. Yeah, now Aphelios, 3 items, Nukeduck 20 stacks on the Magi's building towards that Void Staff. It's only going to get worse for G2 here. XL playing almost like a 4-1. They have double TP and they're ignoring top waves. Looks like they're ignoring mid waves as well. So they're committing 5 members to this bot tower. I guess Nukeduck can dash forwards and zone away Rekkles on the wave clear. We'll keep our eyes on how they make this siege work. Markoon can look for dives as well, so G2 might have to be careful here. Committing, they're now backing away. Markoon just taking a few extra tower shots. Hook goes in, but won't find anything else. Ulti. Patrik not going to do a lot, but they're immediately going to commit onto Mikyx. The aftershock's there, but it's too little. Now the big stun now coming in. Caps has stolen away the LeBlanc ult. The kick back. They're just trying to buy space. G2, Jankos in the midst of the entire team. Gore Drinker, exhaust. Oh, Nuke with the double. Line him up, baby. That's the distortion. Markoon running forward. He's going to find the stun onto Caps. Patrik on the backside. Perfect guns to keep this fight going. 30 seconds on these members of G2. Huge wave stacked up. 5 members of XL with Baron buffs. I think they're just going to end the game. They're walking down. They're not going to get baited. They will not get pulled around the map. XL, they are here. They turn. They get it. They make this game their own. In their first matchup, Markoon and Advienne take down G2 Esports. Oh, wow.
I like this version of Excel.
I like it too. I thought upgrade. Didn't know how big, but it's looking solid.
That must really raise up the spirits of Excel as well. Really tough last few weeks, and now taking down G2 on your debut game.
And this is a conversation that we've had. Coming in your first game playing against G2, it feels so stacked against you. It feels like your first game on stage, you are set up to lose. You are the underdogs. But when you turn it around, when you win it, you can see G2 knew they were the favorites in this game. It cannot feel good to lose to Excel, to lose to those two rookies on stage, but Excel played better. Nukeduck played better. Advienne and Markoon were everywhere they needed to be.
All came down to the mid-jungle for me of Markoon and Nukeduck. In the early stages of the game, that's what got the ball rolling. They got kills on mid, they got dives on mid, that transitioned to top. Then they brought Advienne into the picture, that transitioned to bot. And then as a team, that Baron play, that Baron dance from Excel was just beautiful to watch.
Damn. Knew so. All right, shaking the standings up. We thought it was a pretty clear top 6. After this week, might not be the case.
Yeah, Astralis, Schalke, and Excel have won now, and we thought we had a clear top 6. Oh my god.
It's kind of classic LEC, to be honest. Every time we think we've got it figured out, there's a lot of upsets. But you can figure out something for us.
There's only one upset in Fnatic, sorry.
And that's
I had to do one more wordplay.
Oh my god. That's Kia player of the game. At LEC on Twitter.
Kryze, Markoon, and Nukeduck.
Thank you.
Kryze, Markoon, and Nukeduck.
Yeah.
Kryze was like the weak side king, Markoon was the playmaker, and Nukeduck was the one shot.
We're getting played off.
We'll soon hear from Nukeduck before Markoon joins us in the LEC post-game lobby. Don't go anywhere.
Systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
welcome back to On The Break as Excel pulls a huge upset against G2 Esports. Nukeduck, congratulations on beating G2. I have to start with this. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very, very, very good. I'm just feeling so great that our new roster is working as we hoped it would, and that Mark and Hank they don't have really stage fright. They just play like they do. They play and they are just really good players. Like I'm very happy, very, very happy.
Of course, because we did not know what to expect from Excel with the addition of Markoon and Advienne, as you mentioned. But again, as you said, we didn't notice any stage nerfs. In your opinion, how would you rate the performance of the two rookies on today's match against G2?
I would rate the performance as very, very good. It was super solid. They played better than many veteran players. Like they are rookies, but also one of the reasons they're in the team is because they're already insanely good players. So that was very, very well played by both of them.
And overall, we saw a very excellent teamwork, not just from those two players, but from Excel overall, like being able to take over the top side, very, very seamless rotation. How did you manage to build this team communication so quickly?
It's kind of natural. We needed for the first few days, I was a bit kind of stunned by how much they were communicating because the new guys play the support and jungle. But now as I kind of understand how they think, I think they just know how to play the game, and very easy for me to follow their thought process. So it has been pretty effortless to play to play with them. Like they're just like good players and they have a good view of the game. So it's very easy to play with them and incorporate them.
Certainly, but I also wonder, Nukeduck, was there any extra responsibility from you to be the veteran of the team that provides this leadership and possible shot calling with the addition of rookies in your roster?
Well, not because of that, but they, Advienne and Markoon, the way they like to play the game is insanely high tempo, and they want to always make plays. So the only thing that I have found my role kind of to be in like reviews and maybe calling is to like tell them about like, okay, this wave state like this, like let's just not make a play now. So I'm more of the just kind of dialing them back a little bit, but just a little bit. Like I love how they play. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Just make sure they take everything into account before we make the plays.
Still, I would definitely not talk down your contribution to the team because Nukeduck, you have been a player in the LEC, in the European scene for such a long time. And this is a bit of the tangent, but I wanted to ask, what's your secret to your longevity as a pro player in your career?
So I think secret is that I really love playing the game. It's not that I get burnt out. I still play solo queue all the time, keep up with the meta. And also, usually in off-season, I'll take a break. So the game is kind of fresh for me. I start around usually I'll start a little bit before the preseason patch hits each year. So yeah, just taking breaks and keep enjoying the game. I think is most important is to enjoy the game.
And I hope this continues for you, Nukeduck. This is my final question. When you picked LeBlanc, many people were commenting that they gave flashbacks for your 2018 EULCS spring performance against G2. And I also got a comment from the Korean communities that please remind Nukeduck that we remember you laning against FLICKR back in 2013 Worlds. You do have a legacy behind you. So when you look back 2021 at the end of the year, what kind of legacy would you have wanted this year to have been?
Well, so first, of course, the legacy of the year, it didn't start that well in Astralis and with all my issues and stuff, but I do definitely want to take Excel to playoffs and try to compete there in best of fives. So, I mean, I would like to, of course, play solid the whole way, try to make a good impact on the team, and at least make it to playoffs.
And we will continue witnessing your career and your games. Thank you so much for this interview, and best of luck for the rest of the LEC, Nukeduck.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. And after the break, we'll be back with PGL with Machine, Vedius, and Markoon. So please stay tuned. Hey guys!